Okay, today I'm going to take you on a tour through this Orpheus radio that I have. And this is one of the first console battery radios that I ever bought. I obtained this probably somewhere around 1980. I'm going to take you over here and I'll show you some pictures of what it looked like when I got it. Let me bring this over to the light. Perhaps it'll show up a little better. And that is the shape it was in when I got it. Let me show you the inside. And that's how much dust. And under the lid here, those little spots, was kind of like some kind of a mold was growing. And so I totally cleaned it up. I have some of the original paperwork here. This is the station finder and listener's record that you got with the radio. Unfortunately, as you can see, time and probably a little battery acid has ate up part of the paper, as no doubt this was probably stored in the back of the radio alongside the batteries in it. I just made some copies here of the instruction sheet. Comes with it, which is kind of nice to have. Here's an ad or advertising that tells all about them. It's kind of interesting here. Let me get this in the light. Hopefully you can see it. It says, Orpheus radio sets represent the solution to the demand for an ideal home set. Beauty, simplicity, and efficiency are combined with moderate price. Easy to tune, non-radiating, and inexpensive to operate, they are truly the instrument supreme. Well, that's a joke. Unusual sensitivity, clear tone, and freedom from breakdown are all secured by careful design and highest grade materials. The console model includes a built-in loudspeaker of excellent quality. The throat of the horn is made of a non-resonant cast aluminum, while the bell is made of wood. Purity of tone is an outstanding feature. And of course there's the radio here we're going to be looking at. Well, they really built that up big, made it sound like it was really something good. Let's take a look at it now. But before I open this up, I got a little background story to tell you real quick. I obtained this radio from the original owner, who actually sold these things back in the day. And I worked beside him in a music store. He worked and repaired band instruments, and I worked next door and I repaired electronic stuff. And so we got acquainted and got to be good friends. And he was telling me about how that when he was quite young, in his early 20s, he said everybody else was selling, in his words, crystal sets and peanut sets and the little one tube, while he, was kind of boastful and proud. I was selling real radio sets. And he told me he still had one. And so I went to his house and wound up buying it. Now, that man's name is Peg Meyer. And here's a picture of one of the books that he had written. To my knowledge, he came up with 3 different books. There may be more. This is a picture of him when he was in his early, probably 20s, and a band that he had played in. Even have the name here on the drums, and kind of interesting. And here's a picture of him in the band shop where he worked at. And that's kind of how I remember him right there. And so it's interesting when you have a radio that actually was obtained from the original owner. I'm going to take this off because I refinished it. And, you know, you like to keep it nice looking. I'll show you the insides. I'll kind of describe it here a little bit. I have several extra O1A tubes in here. I kind of like this set because it is nice for testing O1A tubes. I custom built a power supply. I'll show that to you real quick. Out of used parts. I don't know if you can see it very well, but that's it. Here's the horn. I don't know if you can see that very well. Come over here. Here's the rest of the horn. Here's the driver. This one has an all wood throat. It doesn't have aluminum or metal throat at all. It's all wood. And I don't know if you can read this, but it says Orpheus or Orpheus all-tone reproducer built from genuine silver spruce. Roth Down Manufacturing Company. And I'm trying to see what the Minnesota, you probably can see it better than I can. Well, I can't read it, but maybe you'll be able to read it. It's faded. It's out of Minnesota. I think it says St. Paul, Minnesota, but I can't confirm that. Let me go through a rundown real quick of how this thing works. This is just a standard RF amplifier, and this tuner, capacitor, and this coil provide your first stage of RF tuning. This is your detector, and it operates in conjunction with this coil, as it has a feedback winding. There's two little windings here and then the one big one. One of these windings is a feedback winding that comes into this coil, and then this variable capacitor, you see it turning, that's what they call the volume control, but actually all it is part of the Armstrong regenerative circuit, and that controls the amount of feedback from the signal that comes out of here, and then they feed it back in. That gives you extra gain. If you get it set up too far, it can go into oscillation. Over here is the second tuning cap, and it is also connecting with this. And so you have two tuners, one here, one here, one here, one here. This is your audio driver tube. This is your audio output tube, and so is this one. These two tubes are simply wired in parallel, both doing the same thing. They really didn't need both of them. One of them is all they needed, but you know, you can advertise, well, it's a 5-tube radio. You know, that sounds a lot better than saying it's a 4-tube radio. At this time, 1926, manufacturers were going to two tuning knobs. However, their design was different. Up till that time, 1924, 1925, even into 26, the standard, most popular tuning arrangements was like this radio here's got. You had 3 knobs. Each one was to tune the radio station. You would tune the first one, then the second one, the third one, until it came in the strongest. They discovered what they could do. They could tie these two together with some kind of a belt or band, or connect them both on the same shaft, or gearing them together. And they would track close enough that they could get around 3 knobs to 2 knobs and then a single one. And that was really the design of the day, and that was the best design. But this one here kind of makes you think you're getting that, but you're not. Okay, this has an amperite in it right here. That was kind of a new thing back in the day. And that was to eliminate rheostats, so all the tubes would run at a continuous voltage, which would be the ideal voltage for the tubes for the maximum efficiency. You know, and that's all fine and good, but you have to have some way of controlling the volume. And this way is absolutely insane. It just does not work. It's the stupidest design anybody could ever have come up with, which makes me wonder about this. Up until 1925, somewhere in 1925, there were more handmade radios built in people's garages and homes and whatnot than there were factory-made radios. So most likely whoever originally designed this for Roth Down was probably an amateur that didn't quite have the full grasp of everything. And so they didn't put a regular volume control on it, so you cannot control the volume. It will literally blast you out of the room on a strong station, and you got to detune it in order to be able to listen to it because it's so loud. Well, I'm sure you've been wanting to hear this radio, and so now I'm going to turn it on. And I did replace this switch years ago. This is not original. This is a modern switch, but it works. And there it is.
Do understand that it's our turn.
That is loud.
To bring them all the way home. To keep them secure. To have their backs for the rest of their lives. Wounded Warrior Project.
That is so loud it hurts your ears when it had it turned up.
Teams build their teams differently, and I damn sure I damn sure because that means the Ravens will win every freaking time. Like, I think that's to me that's unfair because teams are built differently. Teams are built to kick indoors. Teams are built to play.
Veterans face treacherous situations filled with peril while serving our country. Many veterans come home physically injured.
Notice when they're together,
have traumatic brain injuries or other illnesses.
is your best tuning.
At an unprecedented time in history, our most vulnerable
But
veterans are
right there is actually about where you'd want to listen to it. But they should be tuned together, but you can't because there's no real volume control. Now, we don't really get any AM stations past here, so. Okay. I hear that? That's the regeneration control going into oscillation. So, too loud. Now watch this.
After just a few weeks, my voice was gone. The secret is now
no difference.
Contains a maximum strength FDA-approved ingredient, and the unique capsule helps balance the body's natural defense to fungus. This has changed everything. Crystal Flush is not available in stores.
So now it's operating on 4 tubes. Now watch this. My wife's out downstairs saying it's too loud. It's not as loud, but it's operating on 3 tubes.
I will be getting a lawyer. I will be suing the Democratic National Committee no matter what. Whether I win or lose, stand up for the rights that every American...
So there it is. All-tone reproducer. It is a nice looking cabinet. Bought from the original owner. Here's the back. Trying to get back. You probably can't see, but there's an opening here and here where all your batteries normally would have gone. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I'll show you a side view here. And if you have any questions, just let me know. And thanks for watching. Have a great day.